finances, wealth. With stewardship legacy, God's design, get ready to learn about the gospel of finance. Let's get started.
Central bank digital currency. That's a term that everybody needs to know. And the reason why they need to know is because it is coming down the pipe. And at some point in time, we'll all be exposed to central bank digital currency in the future. Some believe it's 5 to 10 years out. Some believe that it's a little bit closer to us getting it or it becoming a reality for us. But no matter where you are, you need to know what it is. And because of that, it's going to change the scope. It's going to change how we do what we do in this country. What central bank digital currency will do, number one, it's going to do away with cash altogether. So everything will be electronic. And that is both exciting and scary at the same time. Scary primarily because, like we've seen in Canada, if the government doesn't like what you're doing, or if they feel like you're doing something opposed to the government, then they can literally shut you down and shut you off, sort of like flipping a switch on electricity. If I don't want the lights on, then I cut them off. And the same way, same principle, if they don't like what you're doing with your money, if they feel like you owe them some money, then they have instant access to everything that you have. That's a scary proposition. I don't like it because of the rights issue. And one thing I've always said, and we always need to keep in mind, is this: any rights that you give away to the government, you will never, ever get back. Let me say that one more time. Any rights that you give to the government, you will never get back. So it's a very dangerous and slippery slope for individuals to want to give away rights to the government. When it came down to taxation, there was a time, and we're dealing with this now, most people don't understand what tariffs are. And because they don't understand what tariffs are, now that you have a government or an administration that wants to implement tariffs and the possibility of reducing taxes for individuals, you have a lot of people that are bucking against the grain on this because they don't understand what tariffs are supposed to do. And we've gotten so comfortable in paying taxes, we think that this is a way of life. Well, it wasn't always that way. But again, when you start looking at the tax burden and the tax scale over the years, where we started paying taxes, which was somewhere around 10, 15%, on up to now about 35, 36%, and could be more depending on your income, you're finding out that the government really doesn't know what they're doing. And yes, you heard it here first. The government does not know how to spend your money. How do I know that? Because we're trillions of dollars in debt right now as a country, based on not just the current, but previous administrations on how they choose to spend money. Now, why we chose to get to a place where we are taking on debt as a country and then passing it on to the consumer is beyond me. But at some point in time, we're going to have to hold the government accountable. But that's a whole nother video session. But central bank digital currency, where's it at right now? Well, you're looking at a couple of different places. It's actually being used in China as we speak, and also too is in Europe, different places. It's being tested here in the United States. They've been testing it, beta testing, alpha testing, beta testing for a couple of years now to make sure that when they launch it, they get it straight. Part of the challenge was back in the day when cryptocurrency first came out. That became a big challenge for the United States. And the reason why it became a challenge for the United States, and the reason why they didn't like it, they spoke out against it and tried to shut it down, is because they didn't have an answer for it. There was no way for them to tax it at that time when it first came out. Because keep in mind now, the only way that the United States generates revenue is through taxes. That's the only way they do it. And now that we have another avenue, which is tariffs, to generate revenue, the possibility of taxes going down is something good, and it's something great if you're looking at it from strictly an economic standpoint for the individual. So now back in the day when they started the cryptocurrency and the phenomenon blew up in everybody's face, the government, it caught them by surprise. And because it caught them by surprise, they didn't know how to tax it. And because they didn't know how to tax it, the only other thing to do for them, in their minds, is shut it down. Make it illegal, shut it down until we figure this thing out. And so they gave that whole industry grief for months and years on end until they came up with a way to tax it. Now, all of a sudden, it's a good thing. Now, all of a sudden, the United States government is getting into the cryptocurrency and digital currency game to the extent that they're creating their own digital currency. And that digital currency now can be used the same way crypto is being used. But in addition to that, one of the big challenges is that they want to replace the dollar with that digital currency. Again, now the challenge behind that is that with digital currency, the anonymity that we have as consumers using cash goes away. If I want to give some money to a friend, family member, a loved one, just want to drop them a couple $100 by way of gift for their birthday, and I don't want anybody to know about it, that possibly is going to go away, because with the digital currency, everything is registered, everything is tracked, everything has a signature on it. And so that being said, people who were giving gifts and they were non-taxable, now we may get to a place where it becomes a taxable event. It may get to a place, not definitely, but may get to a place where it becomes a taxable event. So now it becomes a very slippery slope. It's a very dangerous thing. And again, dealing with the government, keeping in mind we're over $32 trillion in debt. The challenge now is if they have a new vehicle that they can track and you have to prove them wrong instead of the other way around, now they've flipped the script and now the rabbit's got the gun. And you all know there's never no fun when the rabbit has got the gun. So that's something we need to keep in mind when it comes down to the central bank digital currency. Want to keep this in our minds as we continue moving forward. Because as we continue moving forward over the next couple of years, you will see this being introduced into the economy more and more, in my opinion. Now, key features, it will become what we call legal tender. Now, right now, the dollar bill, the notes that we carry around in our pockets, if you've noticed, we're carrying fewer and fewer of these notes because it's becoming easier to make transactions in the marketplace. You've got platforms like Zelle, PayPal for business and personal. You got Cash App. You've got all of these different applications that allow you to transact business without actually transacting business. And right now, when you start looking at a lot of the third-party apps, just FYI, these third-party apps, the money that they're making money hand over fist, because in all actuality, because it is electronic, the money literally can hit your account within 5 minutes. But they've set up parameters that allow them to make money, in that if you pay a small fee, I'll do it for you right now. But if you don't want to pay this fee, then you're going to have to wait a couple of days. That's all hogwash. It's all foolishness, because they've already got it worked out electronically where you can get that money right now. They just want to charge you for it. And so the third-party apps, that now becomes a challenge with them. But that's a whole other issue. But again, dealing with the central bank digital currency, it will become at some point in time in the future legal tender. And if it becomes legal tender, then electronically cash will go away. They will stop doing cash. It will become a dinosaur, a thing of the past. Keep a couple of notes. It might be something that is nostalgic. It may have some value down the road for something we used to do but don't do anymore. So there may be some value in that down the road. But if we switch over to a completely digital currency, then again, all of the cash, all of the privacy goes away. And also, too, it opens up, if there's not a secure system that protects us from cyber attack, then that now becomes an issue. Because if there's a cyber attack on a region or on the entirety of the United States, then now you've got a whole nother can of worms that just got opened that we got to deal with. And also, too, if we fall into the hands of what is called a tyrannical government, if the government turns on the people, right now in the United States, the government is supposed to be for the people. And our politicians should be looking at how we get better out of the decisions that they make in Washington. But if you've been noticing, that's been changing as well. In that you've got certain segments that want to control everything because they think that their control over us makes us better. And again, keep what I said in mind. When it comes down to us giving our rights over to the government, once you give them away, you will never get them back. I promise you that much. And so when you look at where we're going overall, the digital scene, the currency scene moving forward is becoming a setup to where it has to be more, we have to be more aware, and there has to be more notice on what's going on in these areas. Keep your finger on this button. Make sure that you keep this in the back of your mind. Do some research, Google it, Chat GPT, whatever you do it. Make sure you stay on top of this because it's coming down the road. And within the next 5-10 years, this could very well be a reality. Most people think that AI was something that you only saw in the Terminator movies, and now it's upon us. And believe it or not, for those who are just now getting into the AI space, hate to break it to you, but AI has been on the scene for the last 10 years. And we're still now, they've got it to a place where it's more robust and they're able to implement this into our economic structure. But it's been on the scene for at least 10 to 15 years now. And so we need to catch up, but make sure, again, with digital currency, you've got to keep these things in mind. Again, China is using it right now to a small extent. You've got it being tested, beta tested in Europe in different places, and they're using it in certain areas in Europe, even as we speak. United States, we are beta testing this right now in the United States. I believe MIT, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe a couple of other think tanks, as it were, when it comes down to educational facilities, they are actually testing, retesting, programming, reprogramming, so that they can get it right, so that when it's implemented into the United States, it's going to be hitting the ground running. And so we want to make sure that we're aware of it. It's going to change how you invest. It's going to change how you do your day-to-day actions. It's going to change every aspect of your life. So it's something that you want to make sure that you're aware of. When you leave an inheritance, how do you leave the inheritance? All these things will be tied into this digital currency. So these are things you want to keep in mind. But again, what scares me about it, and I'm going to close out with this, is that when you start looking at it becoming legal tender and it being the only way that we can transact business, and this is the way that the United States is going, we've given too much freedom over to the government, and they now may become a tyrannical government, which means that if they don't like it, and we're seeing this now because we just came out of a COVID situation where on the free market space and with social media, if they didn't like what you were saying, they were shutting you down. They were cutting you off. You got fired from jobs. Keep that in mind. This wasn't but a couple of years ago when all this was transpiring. And so now with this on the horizon, coming down the road, I'm not saying it's here today, but it's coming down the road. You're looking at a system that if this is what they saw in a test run, you saw what they could do in a test run, think about what they can do once they control your money totally and electronically. And you have no other say but what they tell you. So if I owe money to the government, you mean they're shutting off my accounts? They're automatically accessing my accounts and I have no recourse? Well, that could very well be the reality moving forward. Something to keep in mind. Very, very scary. And so with that, what if they change the currency dollar amounts? If they change the valuation of your currency? Your currency could go up or could go down just based on a program, just based on somebody pushing a button. So whereas you thought that in your savings you had $50,000 as an example, with the push of a button, potentially that $50,000 can go down to 35. It can go down to 25. It can go down to 15. Why? Because they'll change the valuation at their discretion. That's something that you have to keep in mind as well. So with digital bank, the central bank digital currency is both exciting and it is scary at the same time. Living in a country that's supposed to be free market and capital driven, I'm not sure about this myself personally, because again, I got this thing about government. It should be working for the people. The people should not be working for the government. And we're seeing a transition now to where they used to be working for the people. Now we're in a society, in a day and time, where the people are now starting to seemingly work for the government even more and more. And so we're moving away from capitalism to different forms of socialism and Marxism. And these things are on the horizon, and they're sort of testing these things inside the country even now. So keep your eyes open, stay awake, and keep your finger on this button, because we may be coming back to this sooner than you think. So with that being said, listen, protect yourself, and we'll see you on the next go around.